All right, perfect. So again, my name is James Frasca. I am a video production specialist here at Videoguys. If you call in, there's a very good chance that you're going to speak to me. I've been on the show quite a few times. Gary's not in today, so we figured we were going to do an Ask the Video Guys. So let's get right into it. First thing that we have been getting asked a lot lately is, do people still burn Blu-rays or DVDs? And if so, what's the best way to do that? And the short answer is absolutely yes, people still burn DVDs and Blu-rays. Primarily, it's used for, archiving, whether you're a house of worship or maybe a hospital or a government building that has to keep a physical copy, not just a digital copy, a physical copy of the board meeting that you just had or any other records that you need to keep an archive of. And as a matter of fact, speaking from personal use, occasionally I will do some film festivals in my spare time. And a lot of the times the film festival will require both a digital copy and a physical copy for your short film, simply because they want to make sure that they have a backup. You know that that physical copy is always going to work so long as you have a reader. And in terms of what's the best way to do that, let's get right into it. So first and foremost, you will need to have a burner, a reader, writer, an optical disc reader / writer, and Pioneer has got you covered with the latest generation of Blu-ray disc burners. These are available in both internal and external models. The external models would connect via USB. And for the external models, they have versions where they come in with disc trays that pop in and out, or the clamshell that open up like old PlayStation 2. Just keep in mind that the internal units, because they are going to be hardwired to your computer, they will have slightly higher performance speeds. So, how do you get to burning to the disk? So you will need some software involved. We're going to go through a couple different ways that you can use various types of software and programs in order to burn your disk. So basically, there's three steps really. First, you need to have your video file, and you need to convert that to an MPEG-2 file format. Then you need to author the files in another program. And basically what authoring does is it allows you to set up the menus for your DVD or your Blu-ray, and then also do chapter select and anything else that you might want to be able to control with a remote. And then you need to burn the the media onto the disk. So Pioneer makes it super easy because they include Cyberlink media software with every purchase of a Pioneer optical disc reader. Now, the reason that we're bringing this screen up full screen is because not every optical disc reader comes with every program in that suite. And specifically, we wanted to highlight PowerDirector 19 and Power2Go. So Power2Go is an editor, author, and burner, but as you can see, it's only available with the BDR X13US and the BDR S13UX. Whereas Power2Go is an authorer and burner, so that comes with everything. So no matter what, Pioneer has got you covered when it comes to doing the authoring and the burning. Another program that we have always used and recommend just from personal use and used to be included with Pioneer but no longer is Roxio. If you want to use Roxio to do your authoring and your burning, for PC, you're going to want to look at Creator NXT9. And for Mac users, you're going to want to look at Toast 20 Pro. And these natively are able to do DVD, but if you wanted to add Blu-ray, you do have to pay an additional fee to get the Blu-ray plugin. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I use a nonlinear editor, and how can I prepare my files for burning? And it used to be with Sony Vegas, which is now Magic Vegas. They had a program called DVD Architect that would do your authoring and your burning. Unfortunately, that is no longer available, But with Vegas Pro, they have rolled some of the process into Vegas Pro. So what you'll need to do is when you are exporting your file, you will have to render it out as MPEG-2 NTSC widescreen. And that is going to be the most universal or most compatible file format to read on a DVD, or I should say on a TV, a computer, whatever DVD player that you are going to put the disc into. Once you have that file, it's going to export it as a video file and an audio file. And from there, you still would need to put those into another authoring/burning program, such as Roxio Creator or Power2Go 11, which we had already spoken about. Now, for Adobe users, you used to have Adobe Premiere. Then you would go into Encore to do your chapters and your menu systems. And just like DVD Architect, Encore is no longer available. So you have to use Premiere, which has the ability to export the files as MPEG-2, and then you have to put those audio and video files into, again, Roxio Creator or Power2Go 11. One major difference with using Premiere is in your presets, that's where you would select the NTSC widescreen, which again is going to give you the most broad or universal file format for when you do burn the files to be able to be read on all kinds of different players. So if you have any questions about the Pioneer optical disc drives or any of this process and the various different programs that you can use, you can definitely give us a call, 800-323-2325. You can go to our website, videoguys.com. If you do decide to give us a call, you'll most likely talk to me. Again, my name is James Frasca, and I would be more than happy to go over some of this stuff. So without further ado, let's bring this up full screen and we'll go to our next question. All right, so what is the best option to replace mySlingStudio? Now, this is a question that we get asked all the time, and quite frankly, the answer is the YoloBox Pro is an excellent alternative. Now, if you don't know what the YoloBox Pro is, it's this thing right here. It is an all-in-one portable switcher, streaming, recording, monitoring machine. It literally does everything. So we're going to talk about how they compare to the mySlingStudio. And some things the SlingStudio could do that the YoloBox can't do, but the YoloBox can do quite a few things that the SlingStudio can't do. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the cost. So if we kind of try and break down what the YoloBox costs compared to what SlingStudio costs, right off the bat, you're going to see that everything comes all in one with the YoloBox Pro. The YoloBox Pro is $12.99. The SlingStudio, just for the hub, is $1,000. It's $9.99. And then you need to have an iPad or a computer or something else in order to interact with it. So that's anywhere from another $500 to $1,000. Now, the SlingStudio comes with the ability to have one HDMI source connected to it, but if you wanted to add more sources to it, you had to pay $400 for Camlink, and you had to pay $400 for every extra camera that you wanted to bring into it. Now, one thing I will say is that those Camlinks were wireless HDMIs, whereas the YoloBox does not have that feature. Although we will talk about it a little bit later, the YoloBox does have some wireless capabilities when it comes to bringing cameras in, just not HDMI. So when you total everything up, again, the YoloBox Pro is all in one. It's one flat rate of $12.99, whereas to get everything that you wanted for the mySlingStudio, you're looking at $2,000 to $3,000. So right off the bat, it's less than half the price. Here's some more features that are not included with the mySlingStudio, but are with the YoloBox. So we had mentioned that you can bring in wireless callers, And the way that that works is with the YoloBox Pro is you send them a link, and you can kind of see it in that bottom left-hand corner there. You'll send them a link to their email. They click on that link, and then whatever normal webcam that they're using or webcam software that they're using will automatically connect to the YoloBox Pro and bring their camera in. So if they're using a phone or a laptop or maybe a PTZ camera that's connected to a computer that's appearing as a webcam, they'll be able to use that as their camera, and you can bring that into the YoloBox Pro for no additional cost. Like I said, it has 3 HDMI inputs right on the top of it, right here. And it has 1 USB input as well, so you can bring in either a webcam, or you can get an HDMI to USB converter and bring in another camera that way. So you can bring up to 4 physical cameras plus 5 remote cameras, which is like 9 cameras when you're thinking about it, which the mySlingStudio could only do 4. The YoloBox Pro can be used as just a monitor or just a recorder as well. It doesn't always have to be streaming to wherever you're wanting to stream to. It can just do a preview. It can just record internally. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more later too, is mySlingStudio is no longer in support. It's been discontinued, whereas YoloBox and all of the YoloBox products are getting constant updates, and they have a really, really active Facebook page where not only users, but customer support from YoloLive are constantly active in. Another thing that the mySlingStudio did that the YoloBox does better is simultaneous destinations to your CDNs. The mySlingStudio could only send to 1 CDN at a time, whereas the YoloBox can send up to 3 destinations right from the YoloBox Pro. And normally, if you were using the mySlingStudio and say you wanted to go to YouTube and Facebook, you would have to pay for a third-party service such as Restream.io. But with the YoloBox Pro, you can simply pull up, select both your Facebook and your YouTube, and hey, maybe even a custom RTMP if you want, and be able to send to those CDNs for no extra charge. One of the coolest things that the YoloBox Pro does is it allows you to do all kinds of different graphics and overlays and pre-recorded videos. So it doesn't matter if you're using social media templates, image overlays, lower thirds, animated countdown timers, which are actually pre-installed, which is pretty cool. They also have scoreboard templates that are pre-installed. Any graphic that you wanted to add, you can from an SD card slot, whether that's going to be, I don't know, team stats, a team logo, a school mascot, whatever it may be. You can upload a PNG from the SD card onto the YoloBox and then be able to pull that up at a touch's notice. Sorry, I'm blanking on the words. You can also bring in PDF files, so you can bring in like a PowerPoint, it's kind of similar to what we're doing here, and then be able to swipe to the next slide. Makes it very easy. And then one of the more recent features allows you to actually integrate comments from YouTube or Facebook and bring them right on screen without having to have additional software. And again, for no additional fee either. Now, we had kind of talked about this a little bit already, the fact that you can bring in so many inputs. And in this diagram here, which I think would be great if we pulled up full screen, you can have cell phones as your wireless callers. So remember, we were talking about bringing in guests wirelessly. You can send that feed to a cell phone, and that cell phone can be used as a camera. And let's face it, today's cameras, today's cell phone cameras with the latest Google Pixels and Galaxies and iPhones, those are really good image quality. So to be able to quickly and easily be able to run up to, I don't know, the basketball player who scored the game-winning shot, to be able to run up to them with something as simple and small and as compact as your phone and get, a nice quick interview from them, I mean, that's pretty cool and very easy to do, and YoloBox lets you do that. We also mentioned this a little bit earlier. YoloBox Pro is consistently getting updates and they have a really good they have a really good customer support team. To the right of this PowerPoint, you can kind of see they have a blog post where they are updating all of their products constantly. I want to say that the YoloBox Pro gets updates maybe once every 2 months, sometimes 3 months. But I mean, I can't really think of any other products on the market that are getting updates consistently every 2 to 3 months. And when the product first launched a couple years ago or last year, it was getting updates like every month, and they're not slowing down. They also have a really active Facebook group that again has real world users in it, and it also has customer service support members in there. So if you have a question and you don't know if the YoloBox can do it, well, you'll find out in that Facebook group. And if it isn't something that YoloBox currently has available for the YoloBox Pro, well, then now they know that you're looking for it, and they will most likely add it in a future update. This company really is that good when it comes to consistently updating their products and being involved with their own community. One last thing that I wanted to note on is with the mySlingStudio, it right out of the box could connect to Wi-Fi, but if you wanted to be able to connect to the an Ethernet cable, you had to pay an additional fee to get a dongle, and then you could plug in an Ethernet cable into it. But right out of the box, the YoloBox Pro can do Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and then what I think is really cool is you can plug a SIM card into the bottom of it that has a cellular data plan associated with that. So if you know that in your area, T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T is going to give you the best signal, well, then you just put a SIM card in the bottom of it with a data plan connected to it, and now you're bringing your internet anywhere you go. It doesn't matter if the venue is providing internet, because now you're providing your own internet. And since we're talking about the YoloBox Pro and how versatile it is, I couldn't help but mention the fact that we are currently doing a sale with the YoloBox Pro and the RGB Link View, which is a PTZ camera that has an HDMI out that you can plug right into the YoloBox Pro, and it works really well. And you may be thinking, okay, well, I have an encoder and I have one camera. How do I, step up my game and go to a multi-camera switching event? This bundle is perfect for you then, because you already have your existing camera. Now you get another camera plus your switcher, and that switcher does so much more than just switching with everything that we just talked about. One thing about the RGB Link View is you can use an IR remote with it. You can set presets. You don't necessarily have to have another camera operator that is just operating it, because you can use the IR remote. You can use a controller with it with RS232 control. So it's just a really good bundle, and we're happy to talk about it. And like I said, this is only going on for a couple more days. So definitely, if you're interested in this and you have any questions about it, feel free to give us a call, 800-323-2325, and we would be more than happy to talk about it. So that's the YoloBox Pro. It's a really cool device and a good alternative for the mySlingStudio. I don't know why we did a long pause there. It was awkward. We looked at each other. It's okay. We're live. Okay, so next thing that we want to talk about is it time to upgrade to 4K? And the answer is maybe not as simple as you think. Really depends on your production, what you're doing, what your bandwidth is, and who your audience is. So maybe is the answer. Let's go over some of the productions that we think you really should have 4K cameras available in. So right off the bat, the first thing that comes to our mind when we think 4K and whether or not you need it is sports productions. And the answer is absolutely yes, you should have 4K cameras And not only 4K cameras, you should have high frame rate cameras with at least 60 frames per second. So when you are watching a sports production, you want to be able to see every nook and cranny of what is happening with that ball or puck or bat or whatever the sport ball is. You want to make sure that you can see it in crisp detail and then also have that high frame rate. So when you play it back with an instant replay, you can play it back in slow motion, like true slow motion, and it's not going to be like jittery slow motion. You know, if you have a 60 frames per second or even better 120 frame per second camera and you play that back at 24 frames per second, you're going to have like a 1/5 speed slow motion, which is going to be really nice and it's going to look really smooth. And then you'll be able to tell, oh, was both feet on the ground when the player caught that football, or you know, did they steal the base, or was he out? I don't know. But you really want to make sure that you have the high frame rate and the high resolution when it comes to sports. Very similar to physical sports, eSports are becoming very, very, very popular, and you want to have 4K cameras when you're dealing with eSports. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, the majority of the time they're going to be looking at the screen of the game, you know, whatever they're playing. They're just going to be focusing on that. But keep in mind, when you go to a reaction shot, you're going to want to be able to pull up the team players full screen or have them in a picture-in-picture the entire time. And you're going to want to have matching resolutions. So if the player is playing their game at 4K, well, you really should have a 4K camera pointing at them. So whatever switching software you're using doesn't have to, you know, work harder to process, you know, matching those frame rates and matching those resolutions. So you really want to have a 4K camera on the players as well as bringing in their 4K screen capture. Next thing that you're going to want to have 4K is when you're in a low light situation. When filming in low light, having a more sensitive sensor will be able to better see what's happening in low light. You want to give every pixel that chance of soaking in as much light as possible to be able to interpret it and help you out in those situations. This would be really good for, you know, a lot of on-stage performances where, you know, lighting isn't going to be ideal. So, you know, if you're in a bar and there's a band playing, or, you know, you're at a stand-up comedy show, you're going to want to have a 4K camera to be able to best handle those low light situations. Last thing that I wanted to talk about was regions of interest. Now, regions of interest only really work with 4K cameras. And basically, a region of interest is when you take a high resolution sensor and you digitally zoom into that sensor. So for example, if you had a 4K image and you digitally zoomed in 3 times, that digitally zoomed in image would be still 720p. And if you're streaming at 720, well, it's a lossless digital zoom because no matter what, you're not streaming at 4K anyway. So being able to crop in, you'll have a lossless digital zoom. And this is going to be really good in places where maybe you can't afford to have 3 different cameras, but you want to make it appear as if you do. Or maybe you do have the budget to get a really nice 4K camera, but you don't have the space to have 3 or 4 4K cameras in your room. Then you can still make it seem as if you have multiple cameras by being able to zoom and cut in to different regions of interest in the frame. This would work really well for, you know, I think education, for government, and houses of worship. You know, places where, again, either you don't have necessarily the space or the budget to have multiple cameras. This is a really good solution to that problem. And the fact that so many of our manufacturers have so many different variations of cameras that include 4K. You know, it's no longer that this is the one 4K camera that we have, and that's what we're going to recommend. We have cameras that are 4K that fit every flavor, whether it's USB, HDMI, SDI, NDI. Do you need 10x, 12x, 20x, 30x? Doesn't matter. Now there are cameras from tons of different manufacturers that will be able to fit into whatever current workflow that you have and fit in there well. So we just wanted to say, maybe it is time to upgrade to 4K. And if you are doing some of the productions that we've mentioned, we really think that you should be using 4K. Anyway, that's all I have for this week's version of Ask the Videoguys. Didn't go too long, about 25 minutes, so I think that's actually really good time. My name is James Fresca. I am a video production specialist. Gary will be back next week, so definitely make sure that you are, subscribed to us on YouTube and you're following us on Facebook, because we'll be here next week, Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's about all I have. So as Gary would traditionally do, I'm going to say peace.
Videoguys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.